Welcome to USB Hole, the podcast where we talk out of our asses. I'm Chill,
I'm the child.
and today we are going to be telling you our injury stories. So, usually we have an explicit content warning on all of our podcasts because we swear, but if we ever have anything kind of gross or trigger warning type, content warning type, we'll tell you in the description. So, in the future, look out for that, but I will tell you right now that some of you may not want to listen to this one, and that's fine. But we're gonna try not to be too graphic, right?
Yeah, I mean, mine are not really graphic, but I know for certain, like something I've heard about yours. Like, I got a little queasy hearing the story once.
But it won't be too bad. But
Yeah,
if you don't want to listen, we won't. We won't be mad.
just
Uh,
re-listen to an old episode and stuff.
yeah,
Go back and check out Weird Habits.
weird habits. That's a good one, and it's not graphic at all.
Yeah,
So I could
it's
start
not
us
bad.
off because I'm pretty sure I think that I have more than you do because I'm extra and I'm always hurting myself.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'll talk about is when I broke my collarbone. Um,
Ouch.
Yeah, I was probably 2 or 3 years old, and I think I was three, because we had just gotten a new kitten. Her name was Sheena, and
I'm sorry to interrupt, but all I can think about is that picture of you. Like, yeah,
that was the cat. That's the cat
oh,
I'm
that
talking
poor
about.
cat.
Oh, I could try and put this picture in here. It has nothing to do
Okay.
with what we're talking about, but it's a funny picture of me squishing a cat's head. Not in a bad way. Um, but now I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so I
Sorry.
picked her up and I was upstairs in our house. We had 2 stories and a basement. So I pick her up. I'm on the top story and I'm trying to get down the stairs to, I don't know, just bring her downstairs to the living room. As we're going down, and I was like 2 or 3, so I was tiny. This cat's tiny, but I'm still carrying something and I don't have coordination because I'm a toddler. So I trip and do a barrel roll down the stairs. The cat just jumps right out of my hand. She was completely fine, as cats do. They have 9 lives. She was okay. So I get to the bottom and I start screaming because my shoulder hurts, but I don't know that yet. So my dad was in the basement doing laundry or whatever the hell he was doing down there, and he comes running up, and I think my mom was working at like Target or something at the time, so she was working night shift because it was later at night. So my dad tries to get a hold of her. He takes me to the hospital, I think. I don't remember. I was like 3. I didn't have core memories yet, but I do remember tumbling down the stairs. And I do remember the asshole cat just jumping out of my hands and being like, "Peace, bitch." Like, good luck at the bottom because you're going to be in pain. So I'm screaming. We leave, get to the doctor, and my collarbone is broken. So I had to wear like a stupid cast sling type thing to stop myself from moving it because I'm a toddler and that's what toddlers do. And like I had to take showers and like keep my arm outside of the shower while my parents are trying to scrub me down and like trying not to get the cast and the sling wet and everything. And it was just a mess.
Was it casted like all the way up your
It
collar?
wasn't it wasn't really casted. It's hard
Oh,
to remember, but they put me in a sling and then they had just something that kind of went over it, but I don't think like it wasn't something that completely stopped me from moving it because I think they would have had to like tether my arm to the rest of my body to get that to work.
oh.
And I don't know if they wanted to do that. Like the way it was broken, I don't know if they could do that. So it was basically trusting a 3-year-old not to move her arm.
Oh,
So yeah.
that sounds so painful though.
Yeah, that wasn't my first injury, but that was the first like one I can really remember kind of vividly laying at the bottom of the stairs, like calling for my dad in the basement because the bottom of the stairs was right next to the basement door. So I could like see down the basement. And, like he just probably freaked out seeing me laying there screaming. That was probably
Yeah, like,
terrifying.
and you like blaming the cat, like the cat pushed you down the stairs.
Well, even at the time, I was like, this fucking cat. Like, she wasn't heavy. She was a kitten, so she was probably like 3 pounds. It was just trying. I couldn't hold the railing because I had her just cupped in my arms, and I'm apparently a klutz, so I fell down the stairs. Yeah.
I have somehow managed to narrowly avoid any serious injuries. Like I hurt myself all the time, but like actual injuries, I don't have a lot of them. So I had to like really think about that. Like I've never broken a bone somehow. Like I think I broke my pinky toe one time, but you don't really like go to the hospital for that or whatever. There's nothing, they don't do anything for it. So I just kind of left it alone until it didn't hurt anymore.
Yeah,
So
all
I
they
don't
do
really
is like
know.
tape it to the other toes, and it's like I could fucking do that myself. Why am I paying for this?
Yeah, so I'm like I'm gonna say I didn't break it because I mean like it hurt for a few days and then I was like, yeah, whatever. So I don't really know. But I would say like so my youngest one is my most like permanent. So I kind of told you about it before, just like vaguely, because we were talking about my tooth that one time.
Hmm.
It's like, I mean, it's a tooth injury, but it's like a long-lasting tooth injury that's still like for this day. And it's a little bit of a funny story. So I was at my neighbor's house. I was like always at their house across the street from us. Like every day growing up, I was always over there. So in the middle of the house, like if you think about like an open floor plan of a house, but then with a wall like smack dab in the middle. So you could circle around the wall, like it was completely open on both sides. So we would just like chase the dog and like run in circles around or like play tag and chase each other around that circle, like around that wall. So you go like through the living room, through the hallway, then it would loop back through the kitchen, through the dining room, and then back to the living room again. So his grandma had just like recently gotten a new dog. So he was chasing the dog and the dog was chasing me. So we're like running, around this thing in a circle.
It's like
Well, we're
Scooby
coming
Doo.
around. Yeah, pretty much. But so we're coming around the corner like towards the hallway and I like turned to like see if the dog was still chasing me to like get away from it because I didn't know at this point like was the dog gonna bite me or not because like I wasn't super familiar with this new dog yet, but also like he was chasing the dog, so was I gonna get pissed off? But also we were definitely playing, so it wasn't like the dog attack was gonna attack me or whatever. But so like I turned to look if the dog was still behind me, and I turned back around and I just biffed it right into the corner of the wall, and I was in
Mm.
third third grade, third or fourth grade, but I think third. And just like right into the corner, and I hit it right here, right between my two front teeth, which I already had a gap between my teeth, which I still do. So if you're on the video version, I'm like showing you my teeth here. So this front tooth here, I lost probably 80% of the tooth, but the root was all still there. Oh my God, it hurt so bad. Like to this day, it's still one of the most painful things, with the exception of my back, which we'll get into later. But like even when I talk about how I think I might have broke my toe, like that, just it hurt so bad. And I had to wait a few days to get into the orthodontist. So I had to go to school with a part of a tooth.
Ugh.
So like the whole root is there, and then like part of the side of the tooth coming down. So like back when this happened the first time, the way they fixed them back then was to do a bonding, which is like it's fake tooth, but it's just like adhered to the tooth that's there. So like now they'll do a cap or whatever, or like you get an implant. But so like I went in, it was easy peasy at the dentist. It didn't hurt. Like I didn't even know they started fixing it. And she was like, okay, you're done. You're ready to go. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So it looked beautiful. You would have never known that it wasn't my regular tooth. It was like the perfect size, lined up with the tooth next to it and everything. So everything's great, good to go, whatever. Nobody knew except for the people who saw me without the tooth. So then fast forward to when I'm in the seventh grade, and me and a friend of mine were for some reason doing this competition to see how many stick pretzels we could fit in our mouth at the same time. So we were putting them in like horizontally, and I have a big mouth, so I was going to pull my cheek out like would put the stick in and then pull the other cheek and put the other one. So like we'd do this at lunch and like see how many we could get in there. So then I went home one day and um my sister and I were in the living room and I don't know my parents I'm sure were at work and I don't really know where my brothers were at the time. So me and my sister are in the living room and she's counting for me as I'm putting the pretzels in my mouth. So like we're gonna practice because I'm gonna beat the spread, you know? So my sister she counts 36. So I'm on the 36th pretzel, 36 stick pretzels. And let me just tell you that when I was in the seventh grade, I was probably as thin as a stick pretzel, but I had a big ass head and a big ass mouth. So she's like, all right, that's 36. And I get it in there. And then I go to get another one to put in. And then she's like, um, Teresa? And I'm like, what? She's like, something's wrong. And I'm like, what? She's like, your tooth's gone.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, ah, fuck. She's like, it's gone, it's gone. And like, we didn't know. It's like I said, like when it was put on, it's a bonding, so they just like push all these particles together. Well, we didn't know that at the time. We thought it was an actual tooth. So I'm like getting all of these pretzels out of my mouth. We got them on a napkin. My sister's helping me dig through these pretzels that were in
Oh
my
no.
mouth, and we can't find it. And we're like, ah, fuck, because we're like, maybe we could just get it and put it back on, and then my mom wouldn't have to know, and I wouldn't get in trouble. Well, nope. Turns out, it just totally disintegrates when it breaks. So I must have swallowed it, or just like in with this pretzel goop that we pulled out of my mouth. So we had to call my mom and tell her that I broke my tooth, which, I broke my fake tooth, which was freaking expensive. So then I had to go back and get it fixed again. And the orthodontist that I had gone to the first time no longer practiced in the area or whatever. So I had to go to somebody else. Well, when I went to this new person, like it hurt the whole time doing it. For like the first time, I didn't even know they started it. And partway through, he's like, oops. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry, what? So he didn't measure it properly when he put it on there. And so it was too short. So instead of taking that, like breaking that off and redoing it, he just filed the actual tooth down to be the size of the new bonding,
Mm.
which hurt so fucking bad. And now you can see, I'm gonna lift this up so it's gonna be blurry, but so you can see like my teeth are two different lengths now. We call this like my chipmunk tooth because it sometimes hangs out of my mouth because this is the one that's longer than the other. So instead of increasing it to be the same size, he just filed down my regular tooth to match the new fake one. So now I have two different like teeth, and like I already got this gap in my fake fucking tooth, and so yeah, I guess that was my punishment for not being careful and putting all those pretzels in my mouth because it was way more painful the second time, and it's now shorter and it's a different color because it doesn't match the color of my actual tooth. So like if you look at it in a picture, like you can tell, and I hate it. But I don't want to get a cap on it because I feel like that will look even fake too. So like
Yeah.
it's a weird injury, but they're like funny stories. And I'm like, karma got me on that pretzel one.
It's like a more intense version of Chubby Bunny.
Yeah, chubby bunny with fucking hard pretzels. Don't see how many pretzels you can fit in your mouth.
Well, now I kind of want to.
Don't do it because when you lose a fucking tooth, it's gonna be expensive.
I don't have any fake ones. Maybe
Well,
I'll
at
be
least you
fine.
can't get in trouble if you break your tooth
True, that's
because
all
you're
on
an
me.
adult. Yeah, you're an adult, so.
I'm a grown ass person.
All right.
Since you talked about toes, I do have a real quick one. I think I broke my pinky toe as well. So I was walking just through my living room and stubbed my toe on my couch, as you do. And it was the worst pain I've ever felt while stubbing my toe. And it was
Yeah.
one of those like aching pains that just don't go away. And so I was like, I bet I just fucking broke this thing. So I was a teenager at the time. So I was like, whatever. And I was planning on going to my friend's house. We just stopped home to get something. And so we went over to her house and decided to jump on the trampoline. Worst fucking thing you can do after you think you broke your toe. because that was the most pain. And I've broken other things. That was one of the most painful things I've ever done. I was like, why? Why did I do this? So, PSA, don't jump on a trampoline if you break things.
I don't remember exactly what I did to my toe. I'm sure I just stubbed it on something.
I for sure remember it was a couch.
Wow.
And because there was like kind of how you were talking about, there was a weird like wall in our house that separated like the living room from the kitchen,
Hmm.
but you could like walk around the whole thing. And so it kind of took up some of our living room space. So when they put the couch in, they kind of put it next to the wall. So there would only be like this much room to walk through.
Mm.
Obviously, not just that much. That's an exaggeration, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean, like a person's width.
Then you're relying on depth perception and you're clumsy as
Right.
fuck. So yeah.
Yeah. So I just walked right into it with my toe
Mm.
and then jumped on
Then
a
you like,
trampoline.
yeah, let me get on a trampoline where it's like pulling on it and then pushing it back in and like, yeah, that sounds horrible.
Dude, landing on the
The trampoline
trampoline
part.
was so bad. Like when you came back
Mm.
down, immediately when I jumped on it, I was like, this was a mistake. And I didn't get off because I'm an idiot.
Do you have another one or was that yours? That was just a toe story. It's a double up toe story. Give me another story.
Yeah. I could talk about how I broke my nose.
Yeah, talk about that.
So I
Jesus
can't,
Christ, how many fucking things have you broken?
I mean, technically that's not breaking a bone because there's no bone, it's just cartilage. But
Mm.
apparently you could still break it. So I can't remember where we were. We were at some sort of like school or college or something. I was with my neighbors. And so it was my neighbor's parents and then me and her and then one of her siblings. I think they were starting college. I can't remember. But I was probably 7 or 8, because it was second grade we were about to go into. And we decided we were bored because whatever her parents were doing was taking 9 years. And we were going to play tag. So we were running around like heathens. No one was stopping us. There was like nobody there. I don't know why we were there. Like, that's really baffling me why we were somewhere where no one else was and we were left alone as like 7-year-olds in a lobby. But there wasn't even like a reception area or anything. We were literally like in a lobby with a couple couches and like benches, and that was it. So we were playing tag and I was being chased and I tripped on something, probably just the floor because of who I am. And I slid headfirst into one of the bench legs and right into my nose, and blood just started pouring everywhere. So I don't remember anything after that. Like I wasn't concussed, like I was awake, but I'm sure either my mom came and took me to the hospital or they took me to the hospital and my mom met us there. I don't remember, but I don't even remember how they found us. I probably started screaming. But yeah, so they said I broke my nose. Luckily, nothing else was broken or like I didn't get a concussion or anything. But I had like, you know how sometimes when you get hit in the face, you just get bruises in random ass places because I don't know, maybe all your
Yeah,
capillaries are like connected and stuff. But like I had like bruise under my eye kind of, and then along my nose, obviously. And they
yeah.
put all they did was put tape over it. I was like, what does that even do? But I was 7, so who am I to argue with adults? But the
You didn't have
best
to wear
part,
one of those metal things on there.
no, no, they just kept putting tape over it. And I don't know if it was because there was a cut under it that they were trying to protect, or if the tape was like holding it so I wouldn't move. I don't
Mm.
know. But so I had tape on it. And then literally maybe 1 or 2 days later, we had school pictures.
Oh no!
So I was one of those dorks that had to go to school pictures with like bruises along my face and a big piece of tape on my nose.
Do you have the school picture?
I don't know where it is. I tried looking for it this weekend and could not find it. But I had the tape on, and my mom put me in like such a cute little outfit and did my hair all cute, but then I was just a dork with tape on my nose.
And like black eyes.
Yeah. By that
When you
point,
went,
like the swelling went down, so my eyes weren't super black still. Like it just looked kind of puffy,
yeah.
but my nose definitely was bigger than usual.
When you went to school and your like friends saw you, did you like make up some cool thing that happened to you, or did you just tell them that I tripped and hit my face on the bench?
No idea.
Oh,
I think I have an unhealthy amount of not remembering things from my childhood because the only thing I remember from that year is breaking my nose.
your memory is so trash.
So trash. And I don't have yearbooks from that time either because like my parents didn't want to buy it.
Oh, okay. So
So
you
I
wouldn't
can't
just have
even,
that, yeah.
yeah, I can't even find it in there. But I know I've seen like the actual like 5 by whatever's, the little printouts you can buy. I
Yeah.
just don't know where they are.
If you ever find it or stumble upon it, just send it to me so I can see it.
All
It'll be
right,
too
maybe
late for
I'll put it
this
on Twitter.
podcast, but yeah, that'd be cool if you ever find it.
Yeah, maybe one day.
And that cat one from before, let's remember that.
What cat one?
That cat one where you're squeezing the cat's head that was
Oh
unrelated to
yeah.
the story, but I just want everyone to see it because it was hilarious to me.
I'm gonna write it down because otherwise I'm definitely forgetting.
Yeah, that cat photo. I'll just tell like a little short one that's not really like an injury. It's just kind of funny of a time that I got hurt. So like one time, so this is explicit, not in a gross way, in a adult content way. So I'm in the shower, getting down, having some shower sex,
I don't
and
mean to be
the
putting on like lip balm
yeah,
while you're talking about shower sex. Like, hey girl.
yeah, yeah. Tell me about that time you had shower sex. Um, no, so we're in the shower doing our thing, whatever. Well, the shower at that house that I lived in, like I didn't really pay attention to it, but it had one of those. They have like those built-in soap holders like on the sides of
Hmm.
showers. Well, it had one of those, but it wasn't in the middle of the shower. It was like off-centered and a little bit higher, but not like a regular corner shelf. So like it didn't really occur to me that it was there, okay? So, whatever. I'm bent over in the shower, getting, banged from behind. And I go to stand up, and fucking dude didn't even warn me. And I just stand up full force, like full
Ugh.
force. And I hit my head on that thing so hard. Like, I I didn't black out, which I was surprised because of how fucking hard I hit it. And I'm like, it hurt so bad. Like, when you're bleeding and it gets like warm? Like I thought my head was bleeding. I was like expecting to take my hand off my head and there'd just be like blood everywhere, but there wasn't. And that's why I'm like, I don't know how I narrowly escaped these injuries where like I feel like anybody else would have cracked their head and like needed stitches or something when that happened or like had a concussion or something. I'm like, it hurt so bad and I got like a little bit of like blurred vision for like a second, but I'm like, that was it. And I mostly was just pissed off that homeboy wasn't like, hey, careful. Well, like, dude, warn a bitch. But yeah, I mean, it was
He
a
was too busy
injury,
getting
but
his
not
rocks
like
off.
yeah, well, I mean, he didn't because I was done at that point. I was like, nope, this isn't going to continue. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't have like good injury stories. I mean,
I
they're
feel
funny. They're
like
it's not like severe. They're
oh yeah.
ridiculous, but they're not severe.
I
Yeah,
mean that's probably a good thing. I have
yeah.
a shower sex story, not from myself, but like secondhand. So I probably might get the details wrong. But this one lady I used to work with, I don't know if I worked with her or if my coworkers worked with her. Like I said, I got it secondhand, so she might not have been working there when I did. Anyway, she was redoing her house and like they were redoing the bathroom and stuff. So her and her husband decided after they were done to christen it with shower sex. And for some reason, put her hands up on the wall and went through the wall.
Oh, oh my God.
And I don't know what contractor they were using or if they didn't let it dry long enough or what happened. But yeah, they went through the shower wall.
Oh my God.
And I was like, how? How do you do that?
Oh,
But that's a pretty good story.
that must have been some real good hard shower sex.
Yeah, for real. And
My
like
cousin,
what kind of wall were they using to where they could just easily go through it in the shower?
yeah, to just go right through it, not just break it.
Yeah.
My cousin stayed with us for a while, at a house like that we lived at when I was growing up, and she slipped in the shower one time. She broke her shoulder,
Oh no.
um, and like broke the whole side wall of the shower. Like she didn't go through the wall, but all the tile got broken. Like all the drywall had to be replaced and retiled and everything. We couldn't use that shower for such a long time, but um, yeah, I imagine that really fucking hurt. But, like she like broke her shoulder, and I don't know if she broke her collarbone, but she definitely broke her shoulder in the shower.
I
But like she
guess
didn't go
it's
all the way through it. So I'm gonna guess that those people either had shitty construction or like that dude was hitting it hard.
yeah, but I guess like it's more common than I thought, like even just to break the wall. I thought that would be tough because it's supposed to be like the type of wall where stuff can't get behind it because you don't want like mold and
Yeah.
you want to keep the water in the shower. So I don't know.
I've
That's
fallen
weird.
getting out of the shower and hit my head on the toilet once and passed out, and I thought I was gonna fucking die, but it wasn't like, it was just like a couple seconds, but it didn't hurt that bad. Like that thing in the shower hurt really bad. When I slipped and fell and hit my head on the toilet, it didn't really hurt, but it was just scary. But again,
You're
like
probably
I don't know. I don't get, I don't know how I'm like fucking bionic in some way, but I have like old lady bones,
there's like
but they
someone
somehow
looking
haven't
out for
broken.
you so that they're like putting cushions that you can't see underneath you so that you don't get
Yeah.
hurt. Like a guardian
Yeah.
angel.
Yeah. Like there's like a ghost following me around, putting like little
Yeah.
pillows. Yeah.
That'd be cute.
Little clouds
I
cushioning my
want that.
fall. Yeah.
I did crack my head open once. I totally forgot about it until you said it. Also, probably like 3 years old. I was at SeaWorld and I was like standing up in my stroller or something and just fell straight out of it onto my head.
Ouch.
Cracked my head right open. I
Bleeding
don't
all over SeaWorld.
I don't remember, obviously I don't remember, but I don't know if my parents told me like if it was super bloody or if I had to get stitches. Like I don't remember any of that. I just know that we had to go to like the SeaWorld emergency place or whatever. I don't know if they took me to an actual hospital, which is why I don't think I got stitches,
Mhm.
but I did have to go to SeaWorld and get medical attention.
If time travel ever exists, you need to go back in time with like a little biographer and like have them document shit for you because your memory is so trash. So you could come back to the future and tell stories of what happened in your past.
I mean,
Like more stuff that you could remember.
a lot of these happened when I was like super little though, so
Yeah.
most people don't have most memories before like 4.
Yeah. I just mean like in general, you probably have so many more good stories to share. You just don't
Probably.
remember them.
Like
Yeah.
all my teenage years,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what happened there. I do, well,
Alcohol? I don't know.
I don't know if I should hold that for another episode. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it.
Okay. I have so like I said, I don't know how my bones don't break because they're so like old lady bones with or old person-y, not it's irrelevant to say lady. Um because I have arthritis and like I don't know, my bones and my joints are just trash. And like it runs in my family, like hip issues. Like my mom had a hip replacement last year and she's 57. So she was 56 when she had a hip replacement, but she's needed it for a long time. My sister, when she was like 27, had her whole hip reconstructed. So
Damn.
like mine are just like trash, but I don't deal with it. So I just let them be in pain all the time. But so I have a problem where like my hips will dislocate, but they hurt a lot. Like depending on what I'm doing, they'll be like in burning pain or like agonizing pain. But like especially my right one, it will dislocate if I'm doing certain things or I move a certain way. Like sometimes if I'm sitting too long and I go to get up, it will dislocate and I just kind of like put it back in there. But back to like the shower sex thing. Um, it more is like weirds people out than being an injury thing, but like my right hip will come out a lot while I'm having sex. So like
Ugh.
especially more like in a missionary position, if I move my leg a certain way, it will just come out. And it doesn't come out in a way that it's just like it's not like flopping around like this, you know, because it's like it's becomes like stuck like that. And I have to be able to like get up and like kind of pull it like I guess if I use this like pull it up and then move it over and push it back in. It's like I don't know. It's very fucking painful, but it happens a lot during like I said, especially like missionary position. But there's a couple other positions too, and it will just like come out, and that's where it comes out the most is during sex. But sometimes I'm just like sitting out, it will come out.
I can't stop making this face.
I thought you were frozen.
I
um,
just couldn't move my face from the grossed out position.
sorry to gross you out. So you think that'd be a good thing? That'd be like, oh yeah, just like like take that hip out. You can be a little more flexible. No, you just become like stuck. And like imagine like this like your first time having sex with one specific partner or like a particular partner, and then being like, wait, put my hip back in and being in your 20s.
I
Like
feel like you have to give
obviously,
a warning ahead of time.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to like weird people out, and it doesn't always happen. So you know. But
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
like once it happens one time, then you kind of know what to expect. And be like, wait, and they're like, kind of like some dudes have been alright about it, and then like some are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I mean, what do you want me to do? Just don't make me fucking lay on my back. Let's get a little more interesting. Maybe my hip won't come out.
Ugh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
sorry. I
That
only have
freaks
one
me out.
left, so if you have more than one, tell me you're more than one in a row. Okay.
I just had one in my head. Oh, so again, when I was like two or three, this was a bad year for me. Um, I burned myself really bad. And I was also trying to find the picture of this because I swear to God there was a picture of this, but I cannot find it anywhere. And I even asked my mom, and she doesn't know. But I burned myself on the back of my thigh by falling on top of a humidifier.
Hmm.
So it was like a super big one that you set on the ground, and it's just like full of water and obviously makes steam. That's what a humidifier does. And I fell right where the steam comes out. And it was so hot that it burned the back of my leg. It was like a third-degree burn. And it was a good chunk of it too. Like, of course, I was three, so I had little legs, but like the whole back of my thigh was just purple. Like it
You were
was
a
so
clumsy
burnt.
ass toddler. Like, how
Yeah,
do
well,
you
where were
fall
the
on a
people watching me?
humidifier?
Why was no one ever
Yeah,
watching me?
no one was ever watching you. So, like, when you get that time machine and you go back to write down stuff that happened, maybe also like bring a babysitter with you.
But then we're going to alter the timeline.
Yeah, that's true.
So, about a month ago, my mom and brother came out to California and we went to the beach. And anytime you go to the beach, if you're going to walk on the sand, like take your shoes off so then your shoes don't get all sandy, right? So, it's June, I think, mid June, yeah. And we went to Santa Monica and I was like, well, let's just go walk to the ocean. Like, they're from the Midwest. Oceans are fun. So my mom and I take off our shoes to walk in the sand, and my brother keeps his on because he is a smart man. And immediately, as soon as we touched the sand, it felt like fire was underneath me. Like I was walking through the gates of hell, and it is burning my feet now. So we're trying to walk through, and it's not getting any better the closer we get. And going from the sidewalk or the pier like area to the ocean is very far, and even further when your foot is being burnt. And so me and my mom were trying super hard to like walk super fast. And we both have not great hips either. And like she has a bad back and bad legs. So walking in sand for both of us is already hard. Walking in sand and not burning your feet, even harder. So she was like, well, why don't we sit down and put our shoes back on? And I was like, I can't sit down. I'm wearing shorts. If I sit down, I'm going to burn my legs because they're going to be sitting in one spot for a long time. So I was like, I'm going to just go for it. And you can sit down and put your shoes on because she had like capris on. And she decided not to. So we finally make it to the ocean, like immediately put our feet in because they're burning up. And I was like, I think I just fucked up my feet for real. And she was like, I swear to God. So she looked at the bottom of her feet and they were fine. I picked up one of my feet and there was a huge blister already forming, like 30 seconds after. And I think putting it in the water was the smart move because it probably like stopped the burn from getting even worse. But I definitely had a burn on like the pad of my foot and then also in between two of my toes. So
Did it did it keep blistering like later?
it didn't get too bad. Like I said, I think hopping in the ocean right away was a really smart move because you should put your hand in like you should put it not in freezing cold water, which the ocean kind of is, but it was better than nothing. It was better than keeping on the sand.
Mm,
So I tried so hard not to get sand and crap on my shoes, and then I ended up putting my shoes on immediately after we went into the ocean because I was like, I am not walking back on that fucking sand again in the depths of hell. Like that was I went on the beach this past weekend and it was a little bit hot, but this was like walking on the sun. Like I've never felt something so hot in my life.
that's I guess because you're from the Midwest, so you're not used to it, you didn't think like, hey, this is gonna be fucking boiling hot rocks,
Well, we've
like
lived
tiny
here
grains
for
of
a
hot rock.
year. Like we've been here for a year and we've been to the beach a million times. It's just the way the sun was that day was hitting it so that it was so hot. Like I said, we went to the beach this past weekend and
Yeah.
we were fine. It's July. So the fact that in June, when it was like cooler out and stuff, the sun was just so intense that it heated up the sand, I guess.
Yeah, I always wear shoes at the beach, like sandals to walk down to where I'm going.
Yeah, I brought sandals
Because it's so
for this
hot.
last
Yeah.
week just in case, but I took them
Yeah.
off because it's so hard to walk
It
in
wasn't
flip
that
flops.
yeah. You get such a freaking calf workout.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a fun burn. I've gotten burned. I've gotten burned quite a few times. I mean, I worked in like restaurants and stuff for like 8 years.
Yeah.
So I am no stranger to burning myself.
I think the bottom of your feet would have to be miserable just because like just walking,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
putting the pressure on them. I mean, obviously if you have like full body burns or like third degree burns or worse on your body, like that's really bad. I'm not like discrediting that. I'm saying like on the bottom of
right.
your feet, like to be able to walk, ooh,
Yeah, and like
that
I
would
said
probably
in
be
our overhyped episode or whatever, I went to the Dodgers game that night
oh God.
and they made me
And then
walk back to the
oh,
car
oh
with my
fuck
purse and I was like it's going to pop and then I'm going to get an infection and I'm going to die.
with your fresh gross blisters.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So screw you Dodger Stadium and screw
still.
you sand.
Oh, I just have like one more thing that's like a continuation of the same injury. I don't know how many more you have
I
that
just
are
have the one
combined or
big
if you
one.
go. Okay, then I'll just go with mine then. So like when I was a kid, I was in a car accident with my neighbor. Like I was in, so the neighbor was driving and I was in that car. Like we weren't both, you know what I mean?
Trying to come home
So
at the same time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, this was back when like I don't know, people didn't wear seatbelts all the time and it wasn't like a big thing back then, so there
Yep.
wasn't a seatbelt. Anyway, somebody rear-ended us. Like we were at a complete stop and they just like full force slammed into the back of us. And like my back hurt, but like I didn't go to the hospital or anything because it didn't like seem like a big deal or whatever. So like ever since that I've continuously had like a shitty back. Like it's always been in pain. And that's not counting my the top of my back where I have a like hunchback and like I have horrible posture and that's an excruciating pain. This is just my lower back thing. Because again, back to like my shitty bones. But so like, it's always been kind of shitty. So I always like off and on had back pain all the time. And then in like 2012, 2013, my cousin and I were riding on the ATV around the property at their house. Up, I went to visit in South Carolina, and I mean, like obviously we were driving like morons, but so we're going pretty fast, and we went to go like to turn and we hit like this little slick of mud and skidded and it like turned the ATV where we were going to be essentially going right at like this Connex spot. So, and like a quick judgment guy was like, okay, well, my option is crash us into this box where we're going to be totally fucked or like quick turn. So he quick turned, which caused us to flip, and I flew off the back of it and fucked my like I landed so hard like on my tailbone, but it didn't hurt my tailbone. It went back to the vertebrae issue. So like my two vertebrae like pushed together, like it's compacted down and it pinches the nerve and that's what causes the pain, which will shoot down my spine or make it to where sometimes I literally can't stand because it makes my legs go numb and I just fall down. So like I had to drive the 9 hours home after that. So not the same day, like I left like 2 days later, but so I essentially couldn't do anything for the rest of the 2 days I was there, but just lay down. And so I'm like, well, that fucking sucks. But I mean, we had fun. But so that just like reflared that up. And like since then, it's been like so much more intense where little things will just like blow it out. Where like um, a couple years after that, I was on vacation and I went to get into the shower, but the shower is like a big walk-in shower, but it has like a small step up. And I lifted my leg to step up into the shower and I sneezed at the same time.
Oh,
And it, whatever was going on with the way that my leg was lifted, it pulled and then like just like the sneeze just like pushed and it compressed it again and it just like pinched that nerve in the same thing. And then I didn't fall down, luckily, but I could not turn my body. So I fucking threw my back out from sneezing, trying to get in the shower. And then it was pretty fine for a while, or like it'll be in pain if I'm standing for a long period of times. I have to shift my weight a lot. But back in January when I had COVID, I never got sick, but it like attacked I guess it like attacks old injuries or flares or whatever. And I had a flare up in that section of my back. And I went to stand up to get out of the bed, and my leg was like, nope. And I'm like, oh shit, this is, my back's going to be fucked, whatever. And again, it's like because the two vertebrae, like it's compacted down on the other one and it just sits on that nerve. Well, it wound up getting worse like that whole time that I had COVID, and it just like totally went out and I fell because I tried to get up and both my legs were just like, nope, we're not standing. And I fell and I was literally laid on the ground for like 3.5 hours because I physically could not get up because it was just like so excruciating. The second I put any weight on my legs, or if I turned my body to where my leg would come out and it would affect like, like those two vertebrae would pull apart, it was just excruciating. So I'm like, fuck it, like this is where I'm dying. I'm just gonna stay on the floor. And I eventually wound up getting up, and then I spent like 4 days on the couch because again I couldn't fucking move. And I was just using crutches to get around the house because I couldn't lift my leg because it would just move and then pinch that nerve again, which would then make my legs go numb again. So like that's just like an ongoing shitty thing where I should really go get it taken care of, but I don't because I'm like, eh. Because I was just a piece of shit person that's like, so I'd go to the doctors and get their self taken care of. But I don't want to have back surgery, so I'm like, fuck it. I just like leave it. Like I'll stretch it out and then they compress again. Yeah, so it's just like an ongoing back problem. But I don't know. That's like my most painful injury because it's continuation of like my whole life. Like right now, it's like shooting pains up my back.
And back pain is like just back problems in general, I feel like gives some of the worst pain out of all of them.
Yeah, and it spread to your whole body.
Yeah. Because I've had times when I've sneezed and threw my back out just, and I don't even have like previous back injuries. It's just like, oh, fuck me. Guess I'm going down. Like,
Is he just old now? So you're like, fuck it, I can't
yeah,
even sneeze without falling down.
exactly. So my last injury story is about when I broke my ankle. It was 2018, and we were in the finals for our softball team. We were in like the championship tournament or whatever. Um, and someone hit the ball. I can't remember if I was already on second base or if I ran from like first to second and then someone was telling me to go to third because they haven't thrown it in yet. So I went to go to third and they were throwing the ball into third and I was like, shit. So I figured if I slide and they can't tag me, then I'm good to go. So I slid feet first, which was my first mistake because I have never slid before in my life. Like, I played baseball when I was a kid, but I was like 7, so we weren't doing slides or anything. And we weren't stealing bases and stuff like that.
And everyone knows you can't even walk without an injury.
Yeah. So I slid feet first and I misjudged it and timed the slide too late. So I ended up passing the base with one leg, but the other leg got caught on the base. And since we still had like momentum, or I still had momentum, my foot got caught on the base and ended up going the wrong way. So it's supposed to be like this, it went like that. And I saw the bone like pop out. And so I just stared at it like freaking out because seeing bones pop out of anything, whether it's in the skin or not, is the grossest thing to me. Like, I cannot watch it. I cannot even hear about it. Even before this happened, like,
My stomach is doing flips right now.
yeah, I know, me too, because I'm thinking about other people. I'm thinking about when it happened to me. Like, I could not say anything. I didn't scream or anything. I just looked at it like, what the fuck? And then immediately turned my foot back because I was like, that's not okay. I can't be looking at this anymore. And I can't have my foot stuck sideways. So I pushed my foot back. Like, I used my foot and moved it back. And the bone went back into place. And I was like, thank God, that's all I cared about. And then I started screaming because at that
Okay.
point, I realized what was happening and all the pain started happening because, like, the adrenaline was wearing off. And so everyone was like, what's going on? Because I wasn't getting up, but they were all still like back in the dugout and couldn't see what was happening because my team wasn't on the field. So I looked at the girl at third base and she was just like pale because I'm sure she saw everything that was happening. And I guarantee you I was safe. So I'm going to stand by that. I was safe. And then
That's what was important at the time. Were you safe
well,
or
I
were you
was
out?
like, shouldn't fucking tag me. I'm safe. So And I don't remember if that was even a thing. Like, she might have just had to touch third base. I can't remember if someone was behind me or not, probably because of all the trauma. Anyway, so my team started coming out when I started screaming. And I may be misremembering stuff because I was obviously out of it because I just saw my leg turn the wrong way. But my friend and my brother were there, so they if they're listening, they can correct any details. But so they ran over and were like, "What the fuck happened?" And I was like, "Pretty sure I just broke my leg." So two of the guys, one of them was my brother, the other one I think was Jason. They picked me up and carried me over to the stairs and were like taking my shoes off and stuff. And one of the ladies who like it was part of the park district, she was there and she ran over and she was like, "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" So we called an ambulance because no one wanted to drive me to the hospital because they had a game to play. And
Oh,
so
your leg is like your ankle's like dislocated the wrong direction, and all these people are like, "Hey, we got to finish this softball game. Fuck you."
I told them to. I was like, if an ambulance can come get me, like, I don't really want to be carried because you're in a field. So the parking lot is on the whole other side of the field. And I would have to be carried all the way to someone's car, be put into someone's car, which is probably super uncomfortable with a broken, like, they picked me up and my foot was just dangling. It was hanging on by a thread. So you really want to put someone like that in a car. So
That's so gross.
yeah,
And then like your foot's just dangling, and you're like, "Hey, was she safe?"
I was. So the ambulance came. They had to get like a, you know how they pick up sports people from the field, like football players or baseball players? They have a little cart that comes out.
Yeah, I watch so many sports that take place on fields. I know exactly how they take people off the
Well,
field.
you know the little carts?
That's why sports are stupid.
The little cart. They have to come get you with a cart because they can't just carry you off the field. It's like
Yeah.
hundreds of feet. So they got a little cart, came and picked me up. The EMT,
Broken dangly feet.
well, the EMTs put me in a splint at this point.
Okay.
So it was like a big old cast thing going around my leg. And I think it had like an ice pack in it, which was nice. But anyway, so they took me, they put me in the ambulance, went off to the hospital. They did x-rays. They asked me if I wanted like ibuprofen or something while they waited for the doctor. And I was like, no, because then you can't give me the hard stuff later.
You're like your
So,
foot's dangling. Would you like an ibuprofen?
well, if they're not a doctor, they can't prescribe anything stronger than over the counter.
Oh, this is the EMT.
No, there were like the nurses. I was already in the
Oh,
ER at this point.
oh,
So they were like, "How bad is your pain? Blah, blah, blah. Let's get x rays." And I couldn't like walk to an x ray machine. So they had to bring it in and they have to put it in between like these two like things, because x rays have to be, you know, the stuff that's usually behind you during an
yeah,
x
it's
ray.
doctors. Yeah, it's doctor stuff.
Yeah, doctor
Doctors in
stuff.
sport.
So they had to put me in between these two things, which meant lifting my broken ass leg. And I was in so much pain, but I was like, don't take the ibuprofen because then you can't have the good shit later. So I waited for the doctor and he came in. He's like, yep, that's broken. So
It's fucking dangling. Of course, it's broken.
so he was like, well, we're just gonna put it in a soft cast for now because you have to go see like an actual foot doctor and see if you need surgery. But they're going to put me in a cast for now and give you crutches. And he was like, but I'm going to have to reset your bone real quick. So I was like, okay. And he told me all my ligaments were torn. So when you sprain something like an ankle, you're really like pulling apart your ligaments and stretching them so they don't work as well. They're not as tight as they need to be. I completely broke them. So it was technically a sprained ankle, but I broke all the ligaments. So the doctor gave me the good stuff, and then he pushed super hard on my foot to get my bones to line back up before he put the cast on. And I felt nothing. I was like, thank God I waited for the good stuff because ibuprofen wouldn't have done shit. Because he was literally manhandling and pushing as hard as he could on my foot to get it to go back into place. And so it ended up, I had a broken fibia and all my ligaments were torn. So I went to a surgeon like a day later, 2 days later, and he was like, yeah, you're going to need surgery because there's no way to fix this without it. So I ended up, there's like a bungee cord, like rubber band type thing around my ligaments because they will repair themselves eventually. That's why a sprain doesn't last forever. But because they were broken, he had to put a thing so that they'll go back together on their own. And then he also put a plate and screws into my fibia and then a screw in the front of my foot so I wouldn't move it like this, which they eventually took that screw out. So now I can move my foot. But it took me about 5 months before I could walk again. And I was in a boot the whole time. So, like, I could have walked, but they told me not to. They just didn't want to put a hard cast on it so I could, like, take it off to shower and stuff eventually. So, yeah, that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
It's so gross.
Super gross. But now my foot doesn't dangle, so that's cool.
I wonder if, had you not turned your foot back around, if it wouldn't have been as bad.
I mean, it kind of did it reflexively.
Mm.
So there was no way I was stopping it from going back.
Are you
I
gonna put a
mean, I don't
picture of
think it
it?
did any harm. I could put a picture of it. I have some that aren't like disgusting at all.
Yeah. Put a picture of the one with the scar that you showed me, not like the
The
open,
staples.
not the one with your foot. Like,
I don't have one of that time. I
spit
do
on
have
myself.
this. I think the soonest one I have after it happened was getting the staples removed.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's pretty gross. I'll just do the one of the scar. But yeah, if anyone has any funny, horrific, gruesome stories about injuring yourself, I love stories and I don't care if they're gross. Tell me at Chill and Child on Twitter.
Yeah, compare them to Sarah's inability to not break something and my ability to somehow never break anything.
Yeah. Tell us if you have a guardian angel as well.
She's someone swooping in with little cloud pillows every time you get hurt.
Exactly.
Soften the blow.
All right. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.